Up next on God's Property Podcast.
We have flaws. I don't know who made us believe that we don't have flaws. I don't know if it was Beyoncé, but baby, we don't wake up flawless every day. Not every day. We have to thank Eve for that. She done messed it up for us a long time ago. But it wasn't just her though, because her husband, woo, he definitely stood beside her.
Welcome to God's Property Podcast, where our property value, baby, it always goes up. Hey guys, and welcome back to God's Property Podcast, where our property value, baby, it always goes up. All right, let's get into it. We're here, y'all. We're here. It's the first episode of our first series, Demolish and Rebuild. It's episode 1, The Breakdown. The Breakdown. Ooh, y'all, this one, it's heavy. It really is. And I was going crazy over it during the first podcast because it's so much. It's so much. But let's get into it. And for this episode, I do want you, and for the episodes after this, please have like a notebook, your iPad, and the comment section, because I do want this to be a conversation and a discussion. I want us to talk back to each other. I love a challenge. I'm a little competitive. So I do want questions and comments on all of my social media platforms. So that's YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, wherever you want to comment or have a question, let's talk about it. Okay, the breakdown, right? So let me just start this off with point number 1. Just letting you know, if you didn't know, you're a human. Okay? Like you're a human. So I don't know if there's other people out there thinking that they're extraterrestrials. I don't even know if I said ETs, but we're human. And that means that we're not flawless. Okay? And that means that we have flaws. We're not faultless. We have off days. We have bad days. We have days where we don't want to do it. We don't want to get up out of bed. We don't want to go to work. We don't want to do the thing that we have a passion about. We're human. We have flaws. I don't know who made us believe that we don't have flaws. I don't know if it was Beyoncé, but baby, we don't wake up flawless every day. We don't. Not every day. We have to thank Eve for that, because Eve, she done messed it up for us a long time ago. But it wasn't just her though, because her husband, woo, he definitely stood beside her. But let me get off of that. Because that's another story. That's another story for another day. But we're human, right? So that means we're going to have off and we're going to have bad days. It's a part of humanity. We're not robots. We're not perfect. So we're going to have off days. I want to illustrate this for you guys in a way. So I'm a nerd. If you don't already know, I'm a nerd and I watch a lot of scientific stuff. And one of the things I want to briefly just illustrate is the method of a pathologist. So a pathologist is a doctor, essentially, that looks at tissues from your body, and blood and different stuff. And usually they look at disease things. So if you have like a lump or something like that, they look at it and they try to decipher what it is. What is the organism or disease or cancer or whatever that they're looking at, right? Okay. So say you have a patient. There's a patient come in and they have a lump, and the pathologist takes that biopsy, or the lab tech or whoever, medical assistant, takes that biopsy and sends it down to the pathologist, and they look at that and they say, it's X, Y, and Z. You have X, Y, and Z. So a lot of the times people actually go and get a second opinion from another pathologist, somebody who's world renowned or somebody who is the best in whatever, right? In that specific cancer. So yeah, you get 2 to 3 different opinions. And the reason why a lot of the times, especially in like STEM and science and all of that, why there's so many opinions and they have so many scientists or doctors look at the same thing is because there's something called human error. Okay? Human error. We are not perfect. You can't type numbers in our back and we spit out, perfect results every single time. We're not robots. It's okay to break down. It's okay to have a flaw. It's okay not to want to do it. So I just wanted to kind of push that point. It's the fact that we don't have to know everything. We don't have to have it all together. We don't have to come home after we leave school and, wash the dishes that day and then cook dinner and then go to basketball practice and then go down to church because the sound needs to be fixed and then come back home and then take a shower. Maybe we don't want to shower that day. Some people might kill me for saying that, but I'm tired. I don't want to shower right now. I'm just going to sit on the couch and I'm just going to fall asleep until 4 o'clock in the morning and then I'll go bathe because I'm tired. So it's okay to be human. It's okay to break down. So go ahead, write that down in your notebook. Congratulations, I'm human. Okay, so that's point number 1 of the breakdown. And that's what we have to understand, that it's okay. It's okay to have a flaw. So the second point, let me just go ahead and look at my iPad here. The signs. What are the signs of breaking down? Because contrary to what I just said, to just hit another point, even though we're not robots, we are creatures of habit. So we tend to do and operate the same way over and over and over again. So I don't know, here's another illustration. So I don't know if you guys have ever left work and was driving home or left the supermarket or wherever, and you left there, you got your little beats going, you on your way home, you're happy, you're off work. And then by the time you turn around, you don't even remember the stoplight 3 stoplights ago. You pulled up in your driveway and you're like, wow, I'm home. Because your body is so used to turning at that left and stopping at that stoplight. It's muscle memory, right? Because we're creatures of habit. And that's the same thing that happens and the patterns that happen with breakdown. Okay. So there's specific patterns that we do. A lot of the things that we do, we don't notice, but they're things, right? A lot of us have different vices that make us feel better when we're feeling sad or overwhelmed or not wanting to do something, procrastinating or avoiding something. And those signs, they're usually not good for you, right? Because any good thing too much is not good. That's like an old parable. But we all have a vice. So a lot of us, that vice might be, food. It may be even music. It could be pornography. It could be anything. But one thing about it, I know for sure, is that I'm going to go to Taco Bell. That's one thing I'm going to do. Because that Taco Bell, it's going to hit. I know people got their little thing about Taco Bell, but that Taco Bell going to hit when you having a bad day and you just don't want to go back and cook and none of that. That Taco Bell's going to hit. You heard it here first. Go try the chicken quesadilla. So, with Diablo. And the nacho fries. large, yeah, it's gonna hit. So we have to know and recognize when we are breaking down and the patterns of that, because Taco Bell is good and nice if I eat it, quarterly. But if I'm eating Taco Bell for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, because I want that endorphin release, I want that feeling of like cheesy goodness, then that's a problem. And I have to know that, okay, I'm getting to the point where I'm trying to find comfort outside of myself. I'm trying to grab for anything that will make me feel better because I don't feel myself. I don't feel my best. So recognizing those patterns of what a breakdown looks like is really really important, because when you good old Jonathan McReynolds, those cycles, it will have you in a chokehold, because cycles are sneaky, because you don't know you're in a cycle. You don't know that, when you feel like this, you do it. You just think that, oh, I'm hungry, I'm gonna get something to eat. It's a cycle. And so in order to recognize the patterns in the breakdown, we have to be intentional, living intentional, being intentional. When you go get something to eat, be intentional. Why am I going to get this? Why do I want, to wait till everybody's left home to get by? Like, I just, is mom going to practice? Is my wife going to choir practice, or is she going to Zumba so I could be home alone? Like, you have to understand the pattern. Okay. So, point one, just to remind us, I'm human. I'm human. And then point two is the patterns of the breakdown. So, point three, point three is the reality check. Now that we know what breaking down is, the patterns of those breakdowns, now we have to accept the reality, yeah, that we're breaking down, and that there's cracks in the system, and that it's faulty and it's about to crumble and fall. We're about to have a moment, right? We have to accept that reality. A lot of the times when we have that reality, sometimes we try to just quickly like get over it, like avoid it, or don't think about it. But the thing is, with breakdowns, baby, you're gonna have to go through that. You're gonna have to go through it, because anything that is broken down, oh, it has the possibility to be built back up in such a beautiful way, in such a wonderful multi-purpose way. I know that there's buildings and land that has been built on for many years. Of course, there's some sacred land that we don't ever touch, and some of them are the buildings are torn up and they have lead paint, and which makes kids sick, because usually kids like peel it and eat it. But they're still there as landmarks. But there's some land that it's constantly being torn down and built back up and all of that, and it's repurposed for so many different things. Schools repurposed for churches, and houses repurposed for rehabilitation centers. There's so much beauty, and when you allow yourself to break down and get down to the crumble, and just know that I can be built back up again. I can make something new. I can look at this breakdown, give myself this break, and use that as a reboot to see how can I be better? How can I do better? How can I show up for my kids? How can I show up for my wife? How can I be a better, youth leader? How can I be a better team player and not be such a harsh or sore loser? There's so many things that can happen in the breakdown that sometimes we kind of shun because it hurts and because it's not comfortable. but there's also so much beauty in the breakdown. So that's our third point, is to just live in that reality. Don't try to just get over it. Don't try to avoid it. Just go right through it. Allow yourself to, break down a little bit so that you can be built back up. So just to remind us of our 3 points, the first point, it was what? It was I'm human. I'm human. That second point, it was what? The patterns of the breakdown. And then again, that last point was the reality, accepting it. So thank you again for tuning into another God's Property podcast. I really do love you with the love of the Lord, and I extend it to you. If you did not hear that today, I want you to know that you are loved, and just know that it's not over until God says that it's over. See you guys for the next episode. I'm really excited about that one. Woo! I'm excited about everyone. So you're going to hear me say that every time because I am. Let me know in the comments what you feel about this episode. What does the breakdown look like to you? Have you experienced these things? What are some of your bad habits? What are some of the patterns? Did you think you were flawless before this video? All of that, I want to see it in the comment section. Again, subscribe, follow me on all of my social media platforms. That is at Yaya Exists. That's me. Thank you guys again for tuning in. I'll see you next time on God's Property Podcast. This has been another God's Property Podcast. Remember, God already paid it all for you when He died on the cross.